Today, I want to invite you into my home for a regular winter day at our farmhouse. Nothing too wild is happening in today's video. However, I want to invite you to see the beauty in the mundane, and I feel like it is our calling as parents, especially to live into the joy that is in every day, even in those menial tasks that feel not important or significant. Yesterday, I made some yeast bread. I made 4 loaves. The recipe really is more of a 3-loaf recipe, but I stretch it into 4, so they're not huge loaves. But we are finding lately, for some reason, with my little guys especially, we are just eating through a loaf a day, basically. We always have toast for breakfast. And, sometimes we'll have a sandwich or just like an afternoon piece of toast to get us to dinner time. And man, we are going through toast so fast that if I'm not ahead of the game with my sourdough, I have been whipping together some yeast bread recipes, which are delicious too. And I actually really enjoy having both. When I've had the yeast for a while, I miss my sourdough. When I've had sourdough for a while, I miss the yeast loaf. And who says you can't do both, right? I'm always trying to make sure I'm cleaning up my kitchen as I go. It just makes me feel so much better. I used to not be on top of this. Like before kids, when my husband and I first got married and didn't live with our parents anymore, I neglected my kitchen so much. I loved to be in my kitchen. I hated cleaning my kitchen. And it is something that I have learned over time is actually where I find is the most effective self-care. Usually we don't think about cleaning our kitchen as self-care. We think about taking a bath or getting your nails done. I find that cleaning my home, especially taking care of the kitchen and bathrooms, that is truly self-care. I am taking a little bit of time today to put away some more Christmas decorations and things that have been lying around for a while, ready to be put away, and just doing a bit of a reset on my countertops and some other random little areas in my house, just cleaning up and getting rid of random clutter that has collected over the last few weeks. I'm taking time to make my bed, do some laundry, tidy up some toys, and just take the day as it comes, spend some time with my kiddos, get a head start on dinner. About you, but I feel like I'm still recovering from the Christmas and New Year's holidays. We had some really lovely time with our family and just the 4 of us too being at home, but our routines, of course, were all off, as I'm sure all of you also experienced over the last few weeks. And I feel like we're just getting into our routines again, and things got neglected along the way because I was just trying to spend more time sitting and just being and not worrying about clutter. And just with going to people's houses and exchanging gifts, there's always new things piling up in our house, and which is a blessing. And I don't know, I find little pieces of garbage everywhere all the time. So I feel like there was just a lot to tidy up and laundry to catch up on. So that is what I'm kind of puttering at today. I am missing my clothesline outside, but I'm glad to have this little bar here where I can hang up some of the more precious clothing, things you don't want to be putting in the dryer. Behind me there, you can see this cute little flower picture. I was cleaning up on the other side of this room. So many boxes still. We moved in about August-ish, and there were so many boxes of things that will be hung on the wall. I got rid of some that I don't think fit the style of this house, and I kind of condensed it all into a basket and put it in a closet where it can nicely be stored until I know where I want to hang them up. and there was already a nail in this spot. So I put this really pretty painting here. And although this room isn't perfect, it's not what I have planned for this room. It is what it is now. Having this little painting up here brings me joy. It makes me feel like this space is a little more put together and not just the room where we've been shoving all the random things until we have spots to put them or we're done with them. Like right now in the corner, there's so many paint cans because we're just working away at painting. This area you see here is just down from my washer and dryer. There's like a counter space and cabinets underneath and above. So this is where I've been storing my diapers for the boys, and I have a change table here, wipes, diaper cream, and then there's a sink to my left. And it's actually been a perfect space, other than the door right behind me is kind of annoying sometimes, but it works great. And the cupboard beside, we keep some hygiene type things, cleaning type things, and it's feeling like a really good functional space in that regard. The bottom cupboard underneath here where I'm wiping is actually where I store my two boys who are almost 4 and almost 2. It's clothes, and it's just so much easier to get them dressed downstairs. We used to live in a bungalow, and it was really nice in that way that everything was right there. And so this is kind of gives you the similar vibes by having the little guys' clothes there, because they can't dress themselves. So that way we don't have to run up and down stairs. And in terms of folding laundry, we don't have to go up and down the stairs with it, other than, of course, my husband and myself's clothes and our like bath towels that go upstairs, because that is where our only full bath is. And downstairs we just have like a half bath, a toilet, and a sink. And we've been finding that works really great. I'll probably just keep doing that until they, I guess, dress themselves. Then we can put dressers up in their rooms. And speaking of bedrooms, a habit that I have been trying to create for myself, and actually very successfully, which surprises me about myself, is that every day I make my bed. This was not something I ever did since being a teenager and kind of being responsible for it myself. My mom definitely always made my bed as a kid, but then, once it was my turn to be responsible for it, I just neglected the making the bed. It wasn't important to me at the time. And honestly, I liked getting into a bed that was already made into my own little nest. However, that has changed. And since becoming a mom and feeling really overwhelmed when I look around my house and things aren't somewhat put together, I have started making my bed, and I don't know what it is psychologically, but it makes me feel so good to, at the end of the day, or, like, for example, throughout the day when I'm putting my laundry in my dressers, I catch a glimpse of my bedroom, and it just feels so pretty and lovely. When we moved in, this was the first room we decorated because I just wanted to have a somewhat finished space to go into at the end of the day if we were working away at other projects in our house, especially with 2 young kids. We just needed like a little bit of a sanctuary space, something that feels peaceful and cozy and maybe a little bit more moody. So I have said before on my other videos, I am a neutral girl. I'm trying to branch out, and this bedroom was my first attempt at that with this beautiful blue color. And I am actually really loving it. We are about 95% done this room. Just need some things like lighting. Our headboard, you can tell, is kind of leaning against the wall. Just needs to be attached to the actual bed frame. But it is seeming to be such a lovely little retreat space. The day that I'm recording this video, we had some rain and mild temperatures. We've had a pretty snowy November, December, and January is kind of starting off with more mild weather. So the boys are enjoying playing in the puddles, in the rain. They are so funny how they just have such good resilience for the weather. Like, they do not care that it's absolutely pouring rain. We are having so much fun on these snowbanks that are created from the skid steer and loader tractor piling up the snow. but it's always nice to come in again to a cozy fire in the wood stove. You saw just before we went outside there that I put some beef in the crock pot and I added a little bit of butter to it, and I just got that going from frozen for our dinner tonight, so that can slowly cook throughout the day and be nice and tender by around 6 o'clock when we usually eat. And right now I am just making some lunch. Now I don't always make quite an elaborate meal like this for lunch. Usually it's just odds and sods or leftovers, and today I just really felt like cooking. I think it's just because after the holidays I was so out of routine in my kitchen, and I just wanted to have a time to kind of reset my routine with meal times. And I love being in my kitchen, and I just hadn't made a regular meal in a while, especially a more low carb meal. So today I'm making my husband and I, who is working from home, a bowl, I guess you could call it. And this is something that I've been having fun with doing lately, just taking some ingredients that I have, cooking them up, trying to have more of a starch or a carb, a meat or protein, and lots of vegetables, and then adding different elements of different textures. So a sauce or vinaigrette of some sort, or a dressing of some sort, different kinds of cheese, and then some sort of crunchy aspect to it as well, or some hot aspects, some cold aspects, and just creating different bowls. So with that being said, today I'm cooking up some smoked pork sausage and quinoa. Then I'm also cutting up some broccoli and Brussels sprouts, as you can see, and I'm gonna roast them. And then, and also I threw on some green onions that I just found in my fridge. And then you'll see in a sec, I push these to the side and add some baby tomatoes and roast them as well. So on my broccoli and Brussels sprouts, I'm going to add some feta cheese on that and sprinkle some garlic powder, some parsley, some oregano, some basil, salt and pepper, and give that a good coating of avocado oil. And I'm roasting it in my oven at 400 until they just look nice and crispy. I'm going to go ahead and make the sauce now. I'm doing a mayo yogurt sort of dip-like salad dressing for this, and I'm just adding some plain yogurt with some mayonnaise. Often I will make my own mayo, but today I'm just using it from the squeeze bottle. Add about a teaspoon of yellow mustard, a little bit of lemon juice, parsley, and garlic. And then I'm shredding some Parmesan cheese in there as well. I feel like shredded Parmesan is such a delicious treat. I'm going to mix that all together and then also add a little bit of salt and pepper. Roasted veggies look done. My baby tomatoes are popping open and full of so much flavor. I'm going to cut up my sausage into little pieces so that as we eat the bowl, you kind of get little pieces of everything. Now I need to buy some bowl plates or whatever they are technically called, because we're eating salads and making these sort of bowl type dishes. It just doesn't work super well on a plate, and the bowls I have are so deep that I feel like I need to get some nice bowl plates or soup bowls for this. So I'm plating this up just on our old school plates and nothing fancy here. Adding some fresh lettuce. I'm really loving this live lettuce that I can get at my grocery store. It's grown locally in greenhouses and it's got a nice crunch to it. It feels fresh. It's almost as if it's the summertime, and I just added that to the plate. Always trying to eat a little more green than typically inclined to want to, and adding it into a dish like this is the perfect way to sort of hide it amongst all the delicious flavors going on. And then after I added all the elements to this dish, I topped it with some pecans. On one hand, I feel like I just put my Christmassy decorations up, but on the other hand, I'm just ready for something different. And because we have moved here recently, and every weekend or so it seems we are updating different parts here and there of our kitchen and our living room and our dining room, I just feel like I want to try and experiment with how I decorate each space in new ways. And so why not? It makes me happy and it helps the winter months go by. So I am just changing out what I have on this shelf here. I had a nice enamel bowl with like a bit of red on it on the top shelf with some cedar branches, and that was really lovely for Christmas. And I'm just ready to take that down and try something different up here. I tried a few things, but I ended up for now having this really rustic old copper teapot. And then I switched out the plate that I had behind my glassware for a nice landscape photo frame. It adds some dimension behind the glass cups, and then I have this little cream pitcher and a plant to just bring more life to the space, which is what I'm doing here too beside the oven, moving some plants around just to have something different. I am so grateful to have this space that I get to care for. Cleaning it up and changing up the decorations brings me so much joy. It feels like some clarity for the new year. Thanks so much for joining me on a regular, cozy winter day on the farm. We will see you again next week.